Wax on, wax off.
I just felt my neck snap. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. So I am normally reviewing Netflix movies and television shows on this channel, and of course, talking about all things superhero and comic book related. It is Avengers week, so that's very important. We will get to that review, but first, I saw something dropped on YouTube today. I had to watch it. I binged all 10 episodes, and today we are talking about Cobra Kai Season 2. Now, I just recently watched Season 1, so I wasn't around to review it when it first came out. Had anticipation for it, but I have to be honest with you guys, I'm not the world's biggest Karate Kid fan. I really enjoy the older movies, but I wasn't super pumped about Cobra Kai. And then I told myself, you know what, Season 2 is coming out, I have to catch up on Season 1. And then I watched the first episode of Season 1, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is cheesy, but I'm having a really good time with it. Episode 4, Episode 5, and then I got to the final episode of Season 1, and I was completely hooked, and I was so excited for Season 2, and luckily, I just finished Season 1 last week, so I did not have a long time to wait. Now, I want you guys to get down in the comments section below. If you are engrossed in the Karate Kid lore, tell me some things that maybe I don't know without spoiling Season 2, because this is a non-spoiler review until the end of the video. At the end of the video, after I give you guys my score, I have to give spoilers. Not for too long, but I have to talk about the final episode in this season because it was crazy and I had so much fun with it. And let's get into this review. So, Cobra Kai Season 2. The summary for this show is decades after their 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament bout, a middle-aged Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence find themselves martial arts rivals again. Like I said, I am a fan of the first Karate Kid, and I knew the characters not as in-depth as I know now, but this show really managed to turn me around. And Season 2, guys, if you haven't watched a single episode, it is no different than Season 1. The characters are great. The story is so rich. Yes, it's cheesy, and yes, it is the world's biggest throwback to the 80s, or at least the biggest retro feel show that I've watched in a long time. There are sequences in Season 2 that go straight 80s, and they know that they're doing it. See, when something is so self-aware, like Cobra Kai, even if it's very corny, and even if it goes over the top at moments, you still have to respect the fact that it knows exactly what it is, and the filmmakers and writers love these characters. Now, what really got me on board with this movie is I'm a fan of Collider, and I've been watching Collider live. They have had some talent and people behind the scenes of this show on their podcast talking about Cobra Kai, and it got me interested because I could feel the passion. It's like if the world's biggest Star Wars fan went on to direct a Star Wars movie, or if Kevin Feige went on to direct the entire MCU. That's exactly what happened there. But you have these massive fans of the characters and the story and the lore, people who will not mess it up, even with time constrictions and limited money, and the fact that they are on YouTube Premium, something that wasn't huge when Season 1 premiered. Honestly, I think Cobra Kai is what got YouTube Red, YouTube Plus, YouTube Premium, whatever it's called, to where it is right now. And now it is turning into this force to be reckoned with because they are getting really good shows. And Cobra Kai, in my opinion, is the best show I have seen on the platform. It is so good. But we're talking about Season 2, so let's dive into what's the plot of Season 2. Well, and you saw it at the end of Season 1, you have Cobra Kai, this organization, and Miyagi-Do, this organization, and they are slowly becoming rivals of each other. But it's not just the organizations, and it's not even our main two characters, what some will say are the main two characters, but honestly, this season is more about the kids than it ever has been, and at times, it does feel like this teen high school drama story with a lot of relationship drama and teen angst. Some people are going to fall off at that point, but the way that it was handled and crafted and the dialogue is so good with these characters, even when some of the jokes don't land and some things were a bit off-putting, it still works because you love them and you're engaged with them so much. But that is not the only thing that is going on in Season 2. We have the return of the biggest villain in this franchise. That is Sensei Kreese, causing trouble and doing pretty much what you expect him to do at the beginning, but then he turns into a completely different character, and his arc in the story, where he starts out, where he goes, the bumpy road along the way with his character arc is awesome. I love the way his character was handled, especially towards the end. What happens with his character and that relationship with Johnny is just awesome. Possibly my favorite part of season 2, but there are so many great relationships and storylines in season 2. It's honestly hard to keep track of which ones I love more. I love the relationship between Sensei Kreese and Johnny. I love the relationship between Samantha and Robbie. And then you throw in Miguel and the new character of Tori, who I didn't like her character, but you're not supposed to like her character. She is really good in this role. She is maniacal in her own way, but you also understand where she's coming from at points. And that's the way I feel about all these characters. You understand their motivations. Even though there is a clear bad side and a clear good side, there are really good people on the bad side. And there are people on the good side that make really bad decisions. And it makes it this extreme case of conflicting emotions to where you don't know who to root for, even though your mind is telling you one thing, your heart may be telling you another thing. I'm rooting for this relationship, and I want that character to be in a relationship with someone else. And it's like, this show is doing such a good job of keeping my investment with the characters and allowing my attachments to them to go in different places I didn't expect. This season starts out doing something to where I'm like, okay, I didn't expect it to go in that direction. And every episode it felt like there was a case of it doing something that I didn't expect, and I love that. Now let's talk about the actual scenes of action. Not what you're here for the characters, but the action has to be sprinkled in and sprinkled in well, and it absolutely is in this season. I love the action scenes. Now, at times, you can tell the actors are maybe overdoing it or underdoing it, or maybe they didn't land that punch in real life. But that's okay, right? I know they probably had stunt doubles, but it looks like the actors did most of the work, and the fact that they pulled off what they pull off in multiple episodes, I was so impressed with, especially the character of Samantha. Her action scenes were so well handled, and at the beginning I'm like, okay, she's a bit uncoordinated, but she slowly got better, and her action scene towards the end of the season, and it's something we're going to talk about here at the end of this video, is awesome. The camera movement, the directing, the acting in these scenes, because it requires a lot of yelling and grunting, and the characters do such a good job of that, and I was so impressed all around with the action and the emotion coming from the characters in all of those scenes. Also, the character that Paul Hauser plays, he's the reoccurring bigger gentleman that goes in and he's way older than all of the kids, but he wants to join the dojo. That character, I love that guy. He's been in movies like Black Klansman and I, Tonya. He is so good. And the fact that he is a reoccurring character now, I love it. I love it so much, and he is so funny. And you know, you start out season 2 and you have the rivalries we expect of the characters from last year. You of course have Daniel and Johnny. That's really what the show revolves around. But then the kids who are in different situations, switched with parents not in their own element, that begins to develop. It started with the end of season 1 when Miguel was victorious over Robbie. That really sparked that aggression, and then something happens relationship-wise in this season that makes that even worse, and that character versus character competition is so fun to watch. It's fun to play out on screen. The relationships with different families and whatnot, it all comes to a head as you expect it does, and it was so entertaining. But then you throw in a brand new rivalry that kind of sparks in episode 4, and I'm not going to say who it's between, but it's not where you expect it to go. And by the end of the season, that rivalry comes to a head, and it's probably the most entertaining rivalry out of all of them. Now, I know I've not talked a lot about Sensei Kreese. I want to save what I have to say about him in the spoiler section, but I will say, he's good, he's back, he's exactly what you expected from that final shot in season 1, and the man is ruthless. If we're talking about moments, the ending of episode 6, which I believe is absolutely the best episode of the entire series, was awesome, it was emotional, it was fantastic. And then there's a sequence at the beginning of episode 8 that was so retro and so 80s. It has to do with fantasizing something, but my goodness, guys, it was filmed like an 80s music video, and it was so crazy. And another thing I really liked about this season is you have the formality, you have the kids learning their lessons and learning their skills, but you also have these less formal situations where there are brawls and battles and characters yelling at each other in places other than the dojos, and I really enjoyed seeing that. They were out of their element, yet they were still doing that karate goodness that you love. And then you get to the final episode, and that's where I'm going to cut off this portion of the review. Overall, guys, I had a blast with Cobra Kai Season 2. I'm going to go 88%. I am loving this series. It is one of my favorite new shows, I guess it's not brand new, on television for me, and I recommend it to everyone who hasn't watched the show, who has watched it. Go back, watch it again. What a great week. Game of Thrones goodness, Avengers Endgame, and now add in Cobra Kai as one of the best shows I have seen all year, guys. I love it so much. It embraces that 80s retro over-the-top nature, and it goes full glory, and you can tell the passion behind the camera. So that's my score. Now we get into spoilers, and I want to talk about this final episode. I won't, or at least I'll try not to talk all day, but the brawl in the schoolhouse where basically Cobra Kai goes at it with Miyagi-Do. And we go back to the teen drama, like the relationship aspect with Miguel and Samantha and how she kissed Miguel, and then Robbie's like, oh my God. Let's face it, that's something that's going to turn a lot of people off, but I don't know how you could be turned off from this final battle between everyone. The people that have been switching sides, that have went over to Miyagi-Do and had fallouts with their friends at Cobra Kai, and you have these two teams basically clashing. What I didn't anticipate was going to happen, because I thought they were going to play this out through multiple seasons and then have the big clash, but no, they're like, okay, we're going to start school. Everybody go at it, and you have people walking in screaming, yeah! I mean, Hawk literally walks in with his big mohawk and screams, starts beating people up, and the brawl begins. You get that fight between Robbie and Miguel that you want to see. You get that fight between Tori and Samantha. And like I said earlier in the review, the hand-to-hand combat is filmed so exquisitely. There is a one take in this episode, and I believe it lasted like 2, maybe 3 minutes, but the acting required from these kids basically to pull off these martial arts, to do what they've been taught to do in real life in these scenes, and to act this out is phenomenal. One of the best and most original one takes I have seen all year. The love that goes into this show, guys, I keep saying it, is unreal, and this final episode was so much fun. And then what I really wanted to talk about is what happens to Miguel. He gets, I mean, he kind of brought it on himself, but he gets pushed over the railing, and poor Robbie, everything's on him at that point. Literally everyone is blaming him, and then they blame his father because of it, and we don't know the state of Miguel right now. We know he's in the hospital, and we know he's probably going to survive, but that ending was so gruesome. It's something I didn't expect, and they pushed it basically as far as they could have pushed it without a major death. Now, yes, we had a death earlier in the season, but it's not really a character that we knew or loved. Maybe loved from the original movie, but not from this season. This is a character that we love. We're invested in him, and because of that, what happened was traumatic, and all of these characters are at their lowest points of life, maybe the lowest they have ever been. Johnny is really bad off. Miguel is bad off. Daniel is bad off. Dimitri, well, he had a pretty cool moment at the end there, but he is probably bad off. All of these characters are at their lowest point, so it's going to be exciting seeing them come back for season 3, because, come on, y'all, we know there's going to be a season 3, right? Please. And of course, that final moment with Sensei Kreese, when Johnny walks in and sees that the dojo is no longer his. He has taken over Cobra Kai and basically has an army of kids who have turned on their master. That is incredible. That is such an awesome storyline going into season 3. What's going to happen to Miguel? What is going to happen with this new situation and this villain? And face it, we all knew he was going to end up as the big bad, even though there were moments where I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of buying it. But then again, he's got that little smirk. I'm like, he's evil. Guys, what a season of television. Let me know in the comments section down below. Now, if you want to talk spoilers, please put a spoiler tag and then do a couple spaces. Then you can talk about it. Otherwise, I want to hear your thoughts on the show. Did you like season 2 as much as season 1? Was season 1 just too good? I would love to hear what you guys are saying about Cobra Kai. What a fun show to watch. My next video on this channel will be my review for Avengers Endgame. I can't wait to see it. Finally, I feel like I'm the last critic to see it, and I can't wait to review it. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you very soon.